Welcome into our special edition of SUTV Sports. I'm Ryan McCormick.
I'm Anthony Carlson, and we'll be wrapping up on March Madness coverage with a breakdown of the championship games.
And I'm Hannah McKeever, and we'll cover the biggest professional sports news.
College basketball season is officially over after the weekend's Final Fours. Starting up north in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the women's Final Four tipped off on Friday with a matchup of the 1 seeds, the South Carolina Gamecocks versus the Louisville Cardinals. South Carolina was dominant early, taking a 7-0 lead before Louisville started fighting back. Aaliyah Boston became the first person to win both the Naismith Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, and she proved it in this year's Final Four. South Carolina's largest lead was 15, and Louisville held a brief 3-point lead. Cardinals fought hard, but it was 34-28 going into halftime.
It was in the third quarter that Destiny Henderson caught fire. Hitting threes from opposite corners of the floor, Boston tallied her 29th double-double of the year with 23 points and 18 rebounds. All 5 starters for South Carolina had double-digit points as they advanced into the championship. The second game started a little slower as the defending champion Stanford Cardinal faced the only non-1 seed remaining, the Connecticut Huskies. Paige Beckers hit tough shot after tough shot as she had 8 points going into halftime. This game had a 6 lead changes and was tied twice, so we'd take you late in the fourth quarter. 6-point game, just over a minute to play. Haley Jones drives inside on Aaliyah Edwards, and with great positioning, Edwards draws the charge. Then Azzy Fudd gets it falling inbound. She gets double-teamed and then loses the ball and kicks out to Lacey Hull, and she cuts the lead in half. The next inbound goes to the Stanford Cardinal after the steal. They completely lose track of Leah Edwards and give up an easy 2. Lexi Hull then brings the ball up the floor and tries a 3 of her own. She misses, and Stanford is forced to foul. After Fudd hit both free throws, Haley Jones dumps the ball to Aspen Pretchell, who cuts lead back down to 4.
So UConn's ball, 30 seconds left, and they commit to the turnover. Stanford calls their second timeout and draws this up for Haley Jones. 2-point game. Carolina decides to foul Fudd again and makes both free throws. Off a crazy inbound pass, Cameron Brink makes a 2-point game again. Under 20 seconds have to foul. Kristen Williams makes them both. The following possession, Paige Beckers guards the ball. Pretchell prays for the 3, but isn't successful this time. And that was essentially ball game. Edward hits the first and misses the second, and so the title game matchup was set.
Coming into the game, South Carolina and UConn were a combined 12-0 in the national championship. 11 of those were UConn's. But the pass meant nothing as South Carolina was up 25-8 before Paige Beckers made her first basket of the game. She was also the only Husky to score in double digits. The game was 35-27 going into halftime. National Player of the Year, Aaliyah Boston, tallied her 30th double-double of the season, but it was Destiny Henderson choosing the perfect time for her career high. Henderson led the way with 26, and she made South Carolina's only 3s of the game. South Carolina is now the NCAA Women's Basketball National Champions. Down south in New Orleans, Louisiana, the men's Final Four was historic. The first game to tip off on Saturday was Kansas-Villanova. As the only 1 seed remaining, Kansas showed up ready to play. They made their first 4 shot attempts from the floor and went up 10-0. The Wildcats could not slow down Ochai Agbaji as he made his first 6 3-point attempts and didn't miss until there was 3 minutes left in the game. Kansas also dominated inside the paint as David McCormick as he had the game-high 25 points. The Jayhawks shot over 53% from the field as well as 54% from behind the arc. Bill Self and Kansas won this one handily, 81-65. Then one of the best rivalries in sports tipped off for the first time in the NCAA tournament. This North Carolina-Duke game was tied 12 times and had 18 lead changes. We fast forward to under 2 minutes to go, 1-point ball game. Leaky Black drives to the line and kicks out to Brady Manick. Manick puts up the shot over Wendell Moore and drains it. Opposite end of the floor, Trevor Keels attempts the three and misses. Paolo Banchero is able to hit the ball back out to Moore, and he steps back behind the arc to give Duke the lead. Fast forward through free throws that R.J. Davis hit and Mark Williams didn't. Carolina leads with the clock winding down. Caleb Love was the answer for the Tar Heels in this one. After a fantastic screen by Leakey, Love hits an unbelievable three to make it a 4-point game. Jeremy Roach quickly responds, and Duke has to foul. Love only makes one of the free throws, so Carolina then fouls up 3. Trevor Keels had 19 off the bench trying to keep the Blue Devils alive, but he misses the second, and with the Carolina rebound, the better blue is victorious. Hubert Davis becomes just the 5th head coach ever to get in the national championship in his first year as head coach. And so as the Tar Heels ended one retirement tour, they gave us the Roy Williams Championship last night. An 8 versus a 1, 2 historic Blue Bloods, both head coaches, the successor of Hall of Famer Roy Williams. Kansas started this one like they did against Nova, taking a 7-0 lead, but Carolina settled in and the game was tied at 22. I don't know what Hubert Davis said in the timeout, but Carolina went on an 18-3 run to end the half. For the second time this tournament, the Jayhawks were down at halftime, but that also meant that they would absolutely go on a tear to come out of the locker room. A 31-10 run in 10 minutes of the second half had Kansas up by 6.
The second wave is coming. Absolutely. He's good at that end. Danny Manning said, let's go, and Harris steals it. Gives it up. Wilson up and in.
Now with under a minute to play, Carolina has to score. Love drives left, but is swatted by Remy Martin. Carolina turns the ball over on the next possession as Armando Bacot rolled his ankle and was unable to finish the game. Kansas recognizes the mismatch inside as Manick has to guard McCormick. It's now a 3-point game. Carolina decides that they have to tie as soon as they get up the floor, but Love misses. After a bit of a scramble, Puff Johnson tries, but he leaves it short. Manick gets the rebound and tries to kick it out, but he throws the ball away. You would think that would be game, but the following inbound, Kansas steps out of bounds. After a review, it's Carolina basketball, and the Tar Heels have one last chance. Hubert Davis draws up a play, but Brady Manick slips in the corner, and so Caleb Love is forced to take the three. He shoots it left, and that was it. The Kansas Jayhawks completed the largest comeback in national championship history, and Bill Self became the 16th head coach to have multiple national titles. This game had 5 different players record a double-double, the most ever in a title game in tournament history. It was also Armando Bacot's 31st double-double of the year, tying him with NBA Hall of Famer David Robinson for the most in a single season in NCAA history. And so after last year's tournament was canceled due to COVID, the would-have-been #1 overall seeds get to prove their stature. The South Carolina Gamecocks and the Kansas Jayhawks are NCAA basketball champions.
After the break, we'll talk more about Coach K's final run.
Don't go anywhere.
Although Coach K took his final loss as head coach to the North Carolina Tar Heels, this shouldn't take away from his amazing background in his 47 years in coaching basketball. Coach K is a legend in college basketball and is known no is known to no matter what team you cheer for. He holds the most career D1 wins in basketball history with over 1,200 wins. Not only that, Coach K also holds 5 national championships and 6 gold medals as head coach of the U.S. men's national team, and 13 Final Four appearances, this year being his final 13th. And so many more fantastical achievements that follow. Why don't we take a second and travel back to see these play out? In March of 1980, Mike Krzyzewski was hired to be Duke's head basketball coach. He would win his first game in November of that same year to Stetson. In March of 1991, an 83-77 upset in Chapel Hill against the Tar Heels landed Coach K an ACC championship. Fast forward to September 9, 2001, Krzyzewski was named America's best coach by CNN and Time magazine. Pushed towards the 2010s, in 2015, Coach K becomes the first D1 basketball coach to win 1,000 games after Duke defeated St. John's in Madison Square Garden. Finally, we reach the present as Coach K finishes his final season as Duke head coach. Although going out with a loss in his final home game and being eliminated from the NCAA tournament by North Carolina, Coach K had an amazing career and will be known as a legend to all fans, rivals or not. I have some mad respect for Coach K, even as a avid Tar Heel fan, born and bred. I don't know.
Same here. You know, Coach K was the coach when Duke upset UNLV on the road to a perfect season in the national championship game back in the 90s with Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon, all those top players. But a lot of people have hate towards Coach K, and I love the guy. Such mad respect for him.
I'm on the opposite end of things. I'm a Tar Heel born and bred as well, but you got to take advantage, or you got to take pride in the rivalry, and know that our blue is a better blue to bleed. Yes, he was a great guy. Yes, he has the most wins in D1 history, sure. But losing the national championship last night, the only consolation was that Duke didn't win it, and Coach K can go in retirement.
The 2022 Masters tees off on Thursday with a surprise entrant announced today. The all-time PGA Tour wins leader, Tiger Woods, plans on competing once again for the first time since the 2020 Masters. Woods says he never enters a competition that he doesn't feel like he can't win. So hopefully he'll have high hopes this week. A car crash in February of 2021 left Tiger with screws and pins in his ankle. And so Woods announced his plans to retire from full-time competition, but still had hopes to compete on the tour once again. Woods will be looking to match Jack Nicklaus for the top spot in the record books for most green jackets won. It's been 406 days since the incident, so Tiger's return to the competition is a win of its own.
I hope he wins. I hope he comes back and wins it just like he did in 2020. I mean, I think the biggest thing of the weekend in these practice rounds have been that he's not wearing his Nike shoes. That's definitely the biggest thing that the media has been talking about, is that he's been wearing FootJoys to kind of, by doctor's orders, to keep his back and legs. Because, I mean, Augusta's the toughest course to have to walk several days in a row. And, I mean, for Tiger to be doing that at his age, after what he just went through, after all the back surgeries as well, he needs those shoes.
I think Tiger is definitely going to tough it out. I remember it was one of the earlier Masters in 2000s. He had some sort of wrist or a leg injury and won the competition. I think it was off of a broken leg, and that just shows his dedication. And when the accident first happened, when I heard that, I'm like, he's retired. He's done, because usually athletes don't come back from injuries like that, especially if you've seen footage of the car crash.
It's true. We'll be back with the NBA playoffs after the break.
Awkward. Do I look familiar? I should. You might remember me from here. Here. Or maybe even here.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
It can actually be a perfect moment to reach out to a friend and ask if they're okay if they seem down. It doesn't matter how you say it.
You all right?
Everything's okay?
All G?
You all right, girl? You cool?
You bugging dog.
Just show you're there for them. Go on, Kelly. Seize the awkward.
Hey, you haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner.
Go. Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there. We're the family. Oh, I thought you were on my team. Wait.
The NBA regular season is quickly coming to an end. With 4 days left in the season, most teams in the league fates have been sealed. 9 teams have been eliminated from the playoff contention. The top 4 teams in both conferences have all clinched playoff spots and will avoid the play-in tournament. In the East, the 1 seed Miami Heat led by 2 games. The Celtics, Bucks, and Sixers are close on their tails. Over in the West, the Phoenix Suns have clinched the best record in the league. Trailing behind them are the Grizzlies, Warriors, and the Mavericks.
With the introduction of the play-in tournament a couple years ago, the NBA playoffs have gotten a little more interesting. The rule allows the 9th and 10th seeds in each conference to earn a spot by facing the 7th and 8th seeds. The East already knows which 10 teams will make it to the postseason, but the only question is what will the final standings be. In the West, the Utah Jazz are currently the 6th seed, and they are not clear of the play-in tournament yet. If they stay out of the play-in, the Jazz would match up against the Warriors in the first round. If they fall into the play-in tournament, they would have to play whoever the 10 seed is. The current 11 seed, the Los Angeles Lakers, still have a chance to squeeze in the tournament or into the play-in tournament, but they need major losses by both the San Antonio Spurs and the New Orleans Pelicans. The final day of the regular season is April 10th. The play-in tournament begins the 12th, and the reseeded playoffs tip on the 16th.
Got
Go
any-
Bulls.
Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
That's the key for
Okay.
me and Ryan. Zach Levine sadly is out tonight with an
He is.
injury,
He
so
is.
hope he
Can't-
can come back.
Yeah, can't get redemption against the Bucks yet, but
Yeah.
we'll definitely need it in the playoffs.
And Lonzo is TBA at the moment. Lonzo
Yeah.
Ball's still to be determined.
I don't know, one of the things that I'm proud of is before the season started, when everyone was all hyped up about the Lakers signing everybody, all the 2013 Hall of Fame team, I said they would miss the playoffs, and now they're the 11th seed, and so hopefully they got, I think, 2 games. No, they just finished one game against the Nuggets. They got another game against the Nuggets, and then they got this. I think they play the Spurs too.
Yes.
And then they also have a game against the Warriors. So hopefully they miss the playoffs. The East is a lot tighter than the West was.
Old man LeBron and the former double-double king Russell Westbrook.
Triple-double king.
Triple-double king. Triple-double king.
I am not a fan of Russell Westbrook.
Why not?
Just don't enjoy him. He's not.
He doesn't deserve the hate he's getting this season.
I just
LeBron deserves
don't.
the hate.
Well,
LeBron deserves
LeBron
the hate,
always.
yeah.
LeBron always deserves.
I saw this report that the Lakers losing graphics, they have never used LeBron as the losing player in the graphic picture.
Really?
So the player they've used the most is Malik Monk, and so LeBron needs to start getting some hate.
Yeah. The NHL regular season is almost coming to a close, and so the playoffs are just under a month away. Let's take a look at the playoff race. 5 teams in total have been eliminated from postseason contention. Arizona and Seattle in the West, Philadelphia, New Jersey, and Montreal in the East. 2 days ago, the Eastern Conference leading Florida Panthers clinched the first playoff spot. The Eastern Conference playoff race is close within the top 3 seeds in each division. And the wild card race looks just about locked up with the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning taking the first spot and the Capitals ahead of the Islanders by 11 points for the second wild card seed. The Western Conference is a bit more spread out as the top seed Colorado Avalanche have a 30-point lead on the 11th seed Vancouver Canucks. The question here looks like the wild card scene as Nashville and Vegas hold the 2 spots right now. And me and Ryan were talking before the show. Your pick was Vegas was not going to make the playoffs,
Yep,
and right now it's
team
coming
that said
true.
wouldn't
They're
make the
on the
playoffs.
edge of making the playoffs, and I'm a Chicago Blackhawks fan. I'm not a part of the Vegas Army fan base, whatever they call it down there. So we'll go to break, and coming up will be MLB news.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Your password isn't secure. There's nothing that a hacker loves more. But there's an easy thing you can do to prove the logger in is you. Authenticate, strong authenticate. Make your logins extra safe. Protect your identity from tragic fate. Authenticate, strong authenticate. Use your fingerprint, your face, or a code. At home or work or on the road. 2 steps are safer than 1 or 3 or 4. And keeping data safe is so much fun. Authenticate, strong authenticate. Make your logins extra safe. Protect your identity from tragic fate. Authenticate, strong authenticate.
We are just 2 days away from Major League Baseball's opening day, and we couldn't be more excited. After a roller coaster of an offseason, including the 99-day lockout, we have finally reached the season only 1 week behind schedule. This season will have a couple of new rules brought on by the new collective bargaining agreement. The National League will have a designated hitter, eliminating the era of pitchers hitting. There will be a 12-team playoff format and the elimination of 7-inning doubleheaders and the extra innings ghost runner. Here's a look at the current spring training standings. Only the Angels, Cubs, Diamondbacks, and Red Sox have double-digit wins so far. At the bottom of the standings are the Nationals and Athletics, both who are going through rebuilds at the moment. But the Dodgers are down. They are too, even after a busy offseason that saw Freddie Freeman come to Hollywood. The season begins Thursday.
The league's most storied rivalry will give us the first pitch of the season as the Red Sox will face Garrett Cole and the New York Yankees. The World Series champions Atlanta Braves will host the Cincinnati Reds for their banner reveal later Thursday night. All right, 2 days away from opening day, who's your favorites going into the season?
I like the moves the Twins made. I'm not saying that they're going to do anything with those moves. I think they're more like trade bait moves when the trade deadline comes up. But I like the NL team. I like the Giants to try and do something again. I mean, the Dodgers are slacking right now in spring training, but the Giants took everybody by surprise last year, and so if they can kind of replicate that magic, they can win that division.
I definitely like the Giants, the NL, and spring training is like the preseason for baseball. When I was a kid, for preseason for football, I'll always panic when the Bears lost a preseason game. My dad would be like, relax, Anthony. It's preseason. No need to get worried about it. NL, definitely San Francisco. In the AL, I'm going to go with my White Sox. I think they have a good shot, especially with how they add some pitching depth in the offseason and just recently got A.J. Pollock in the Craig Kimbrell trade.
They got to stay healthy. That's the problem with the Sox. They got to stay healthy.
Absolutely.
All right, and then for those at home who don't know what the Field of Dreams game is.
So the Field of Dreams, you can go ahead and.
So the Field of Dreams game is a game held in Dyersville, Iowa, which is a set of the Field of Dreams movie, and the same that they built is right next to actual set. And last year we had the Yankees and the White Sox play in that game, and it was an absolute classic. 6 runs scored in the ninth inning alone. Yankees with 2 back-to-back home runs.
I remember the Stanton shot. That was,
yes, the Stanton shot.
That was beautiful.
I was at my, grandma's house watching the game after me and my grandpa went golfing, and we're watching the end of it. Judge hit a home run. Okay, I'm not worried. We're still up by 1. Stan then just a moonshot, and the crack of the bat just gave me like chills down the spine, and I'm like, oh no, we're down. And then good old TA Tim Anderson in the bottom of the 9th hit a moonshot and won it for the White Sox in Dyersville, Iowa.
Yeah. Well, this year another Chicago team gets to play out there. It's the Cubs and the Reds.
Yes.
And so that's one of the things I'm excited about is Sia Suzuki putting a bomb out in the corn.
All right. Moving on.
We are just weeks away from the largest event of the NFL offseason in the 2022 NFL Draft. This year's draft will take place in the city that never sleeps, Las Vegas, Nevada. The Jacksonville Jaguars highlight this year's draft, claiming their 2nd straight number overall selection after suffering an abysmal 3-14 season last year. 2 other teams follow, the Detroit Lions at number 2 and the Houston Texans at number 3. Michigan Wolverines defensive end Aiden Hutchinson is presumed the first overall pick, but who follows after that is unknown.
All right, do you guys have any sleeper picks for the draft?
I've got a day 2, day 3 sleeper. One of my best friends growing up and in high school was Daniel Bellinger. He's a San Diego State tight end. He had one of the best combines out of all the tight ends that were out there. He's a fantastic run blocker. He didn't get to show a whole lot of pass catching film at San Diego State because they don't do very well throwing the ball. But in the run game, they dominated, and they followed his lead because he's the best blocker in the draft for sure.
I like Cole Strange out of Chattanooga. It's an FCS school, so FCS schools kind of get a lot of hate sometimes because they're lower level Division I. But I like Strange because he was in a run offense at Chattanooga, and it's more RPO based now in NFL, so I think that's to his advantage. And also I like James Cook, the running back out of Georgia, who's Dalvin Cook's younger brother, by the way.
All right, who will be the first selected quarterback? We've got Kenny Pickett or Matt Corral.
Ooh, that's a close one. I like Kenny Pickett, but I also like Liberty's QB, Malik Willis.
Yeah, that's who I think.
I think that'll be the first guy off the board. He has more of the.
He's got a cannon.
He's got a cannon of an arm. Also, he has more
run in the pocket.
Characteristics of what the NFL quarterback is today. As I like Pickett and Corral, but they're more of in the pocket QBs, which is kind of shifting to becoming a thing of the past.
Yeah. I mean, Desmond Ridder is also that same kind of movement quarterback like Malik Willis is. He shows a lot of when things kind of fall apart behind the line of scrimmage, he shows that like Patrick Mahomes-esque ability to move around and find his receivers open. I know people don't think this QB draft class is fantastic, but they could open a lot of eyes.
Absolutely.
All right, where will Kayvon Thibodeau be drafted?
So the Oregon defensive end is apparently sliding in the draft.
Yeah.
Teams in the top 5 don't want to draft him. He's apparently going to slide out of the top 10. I think that's a steal if he falls out of the top 10. I mean, the Eagles they had 3 picks, now have 2 picks in the teens. The Saints have 2 picks in the teens. If they can find a way, not saying that they have to, I mean, obviously those values at those picks are high to fill out the range, but if he starts falling out of the 10s, could probably give up both those picks for him.
Thibodeau is definitely a beast. I like him being in New Orleans. I think he can shine there the brightest.
That's all we have for you today on SUTV Sports. Thanks for watching. I'm Ryan McCormick.
I'm Anthony Colasuno.
And I'm Hannah McKeever. Tune in Thursday for our regularly scheduled program.